I don't know, I'm just putting a simple thing here. Grab another piece of concrete.
Let's let him say.
So a couple other things. I don't blame Daybreak Foods at all. Eric knows that wholeheartedly. But Natasha, you're a compost expert. So one of our points on the conversation also was when these piles reek so bad, they are not being composted correctly. That's anaerobic bacteria, and that produces hazardous gases and leachate. Period. I educated myself off the USDA Handbook of Composting. There's also a SME up in Stevens Point. I wish you would be involved in this because there's a whole entire symposium coming at the end of May and June. Are you going?
Yes, I am.
Good.
I'm actually presenting at it. And the SME from Stevens Point was one of the SMEs on site in 2022.
Okay, so I would really like somebody, Elizabeth has finally gotten permission and gotten air monitors this time. Because when it stinks so bad that you want to puke, that is not healthy air quality, period. Okay? So as a composting expert, I expect you guys to help us with that. Can I have that?
Yeah.
Natasha, can you help us with that?
Yeah, we try to help as much as we can related to the air quality. I'll let Elizabeth speak to what they're doing for the air quality.
I don't think it's
monitoring.
actually Elizabeth's. You're creating a situation by composting and giving the permit, and you guys need to be joined at the hip with this.
Okay, yes. Can you let me finish up? So the air quality, I'll let Elizabeth speak to what they're going to be monitoring, and then things that we're looking at and working with Barrett and the crew are looking at some of the forecasts out there to help. When you have those inversions, when the low cloud cover, to try to work with operations for when they have to turn the compost pile, and we have operations out there where you may have odors introduced. To try to work with those different weather patterns in fitting those operations, and when days that we have a better higher ceiling. I'll say, Elizabeth, I don't know if you want to talk to the air quality a little bit more.
Yeah, so after the 22 outbreak, when there was a lot of coming in,
Can you speak up?
yeah, after the 22 outbreak, when there was a lot of resident concerns coming forward about the smell, that was when we reached out to the state to see if there was anything that we could do. We are aware that under the DNR regulatory authority, they do not have the ability to regulate air quality. But I did not, and I may not be speaking on that 100% accurate, so Natasha speaks correctly, but one of the things that we wanted to look into is making sure that we at least had information that we could share with the residents. We know that it smells. I wanted to make sure that there was something that we could provide you that was tangible evidence as to whether or not it was hazardous. So that was why we reached out to Wisconsin State Medical Hygiene, and we were able to rent their machines. The difficult part of that is it came later than we had anticipated. Even now, it was deployed to a different location in the state, so it's supposed to be here hopefully tomorrow. And that is when we're going to be doing air quality. The air quality monitors measure for ammonia, hydrogen sulfide, oxygen levels, carbon monoxide, methane, and then volatile organic compounds, so VOCs. And we have specific standards in which we're looking for each of those. If they exceed those standards, we have a policy in place where we would notify all the residents and have you be removed from the property.
Because of your problem, we gotta leave?
We have a top of it is me trying to tell you that the air
That's not how it works in real life.
life.
That's not how it works in real life. Yeah, wait, should I stay where my farm is?
Take care of my
I
animals.
understand that, but the other option is not having any idea what the air quality is.
Well, you don't anyways. You don't anyways because you tested the wrong time.
We have gone to people's houses in the.
Yeah, you came 3 months later after it was done and they were
No,
holding
we were
out.
doing it in the middle of composting, but it also isn't the health department's regulatory authority. Our role is to monitor the symptoms of the employees and make sure that they're safe. This is something that we did above and beyond to try to meet the residents' concerns because we were getting it. The same with water quality. That's not something that falls into the health department's jurisdiction, and we have.
That's not what we're worried about, honestly. We're worried about the air quality, not the water quality. Let's be real here.
When your guys are walking around with suits on.
Yeah,
We have
yeah.
gone into people's
Yeah,
homes,
yeah.
and I can tell you, it is not great. I 100%.
Have you been out there
We have-
3
we have
months
gone-
after when they're composting? Haven't been there?
We have gone to the site and we are doing Point, once the machine comes, we're doing daily monitoring, and there's folks in the room that can probably say that we've got in their home doing air quality testing as well. And we are there, we smell it with you guys too, and that's, I recognize
So,
it's not.
I wanna know who's
it's
the highest level. Norm? Okay, thank you for being here tonight. I understand from Officer Tapp and his partner that came out when we had the incident last time, that it's not really a concern of you guys to come out when we call. There's only like one person dedicated, as we were told, south of 18 for incidences. And we were told at that time that if somebody's, had a domestic violence thing or something like that, you're not our top priority. We're gonna take care of that first. So, with the going to 25 mile an hour, are you going to post somebody out here?
This last weekend, we had somebody out there, I think, 8 hours.
Yeah.
Between Saturday and Sunday.
Yeah, about 6.
Yep.
So, yeah, we lost.
But every week, multiple times a week, not just the first.
Hopefully every day.
The state patrol came out last time
Yep.
and helped you because there's only a few people that can handle the DOT regulations in your staff, correct? So are we going to have the state patrol come out and help again?
I notified the state patrol, so they're aware of it as well. But we've been doing our best to make sure we're out there. Like I said, again, this last weekend, we were out there for several hours. I was out there today.
Where do you sit?
I don't know where they sit. I was driving down there.
In the driveway.
Because we told them that you can sit in our driveway.
Okay.
We're the first house in the township. I just want to say one other thing to everybody in this room. I hounded these people to get us a website to show up at a meeting like this. You have to apply pressure. To the comment about having our senators, I have called our senators. I called our congressmen. Frankly, they don't even know who I am after the 8th or 10th call. They won't recognize my name. They don't do anything. So please apply pressure, phone calls, emails to help get solutions. This is not a simple thing, as we all know. We need a lot of help from all people, including the people sitting in this room and online, to be able to be this successful again. I would just, one thing I want you to take back, honestly, and I would really like a response to this question in writing later, since we have the state and USDA represented here. We're just talking about chickens right now. We know that this disease can go into other animals. We did have an outbreak, correct me if I'm wrong, not too long ago when it happened into cattle.
That's what I'm worried about.
So, just as a concerned citizen here, if this happens in multiple facilities with cattle across the state, you guys gotta have a plan for this. This is not okay. If this is your preferred method, okay? We're the ones that are the guinea pigs going through this, but this is not okay. And I'll leave you with this. I am wearing a heart monitor right now. I have my stress test tomorrow morning. Okay? But I'm not joking.
I don't like that.
I don't get any relief from stress in my job or when I come home from work. I don't know. I think part of Frank's stress came from this also, and he's passed. Okay? I'm only 46 years old. That's a problem. And I have 2 kids that I'd like to see grow up. I would really, really appreciate help on this.
Thank you.
Sir, recognizing you, you're ready to talk or what?
Can I just say something really quick?
Just
She
gonna
wants
stand up
to
and do
say,
some talking, eh? Oh, go ahead.
yeah, just one thing. So Michael Lucky and I actually received the first call from the state when this was a non-negative. So since that time, we have been brainstorming about ideas and things to do to improve. And I come from a place of passion and compassion for you guys. I come from a place of compassion for them at the facility. Michael and I, the county administrator, who likes to just say something real quick, but he and I have already, Barrett, and I don't know, I think we talked about this. Our GIS department at the county is already looking for other spaces for this. So I didn't know if I should share that, so that's why I was like, can I say it or not? But yeah, our GIS is already looking for other sites. So if this does hopefully may never happen again, we would have other options that GIS is. Yeah, so we, and, you know, I understand, I see it both ways, and my heart breaks for everybody in this thing, honestly. I normally deal with floods and tornadoes and things like that, but this is honestly, you know, it's heartbreaking. She's a nurse.
I'm a nurse.
No, but
I
Mike,
deal with animals all day.
but Michael would like to just say one thing if you wanna unmute him, but, he is at another meeting and he's broke away from that meeting to say something on it.
This is Michael Lucky, our
County administrator.
Sorry, I just wanted to say that the gentleman who was last speaking, you know, who had referred to the fact that you kind of feel like guinea pigs here and that the senators represented don't know who you are. I'm just sorry to hear that sentiment. I just want to let you know that we did, the Board of Health for the county released a letter that actually made a lot of waves because of the timing of it around some of the regulatory changes that we would be asking for this. And I think, you know, I can tell you that I got a number of people not from Jefferson County who reached out to follow up on that letter. So there are people in the state paying attention. I know that some of these regulatory agencies feel a little bit handcuffed by some of the regulations that are in place. The policymakers and lawmakers, I guess, are paying attention, and particularly the regional ones. We've been working with them very, very closely. I've been on the phone with Cindy Duco, who's the state representative, pretty much daily, and she's been talking to the senators and the governor's office. And so we are trying to attack this from every angle that we can. So I just wanted to offer that. And again, my condolences for the fact that that's the experience you had.
Thanks, Michael. Yes.
I have a couple of concerns, and I have a couple of questions. First of all, I'd like to say
I apologize, name and address.
Kate Broughton, Cooper Road, 635. I see the trucks dumping every day, all night long, whatever, just the way all of you do. These are hard-working people. They have animals, they have children, they're retired people, and yet we thought that 6 months ago, that would be the last dump of chickens that would occur on the property right up the hill from us. But no, we find out through television that, oh, there's some more chicken food. We don't even have the final water testing done from the last time. And now there's more chicken there. The last time I had 2 nurses stand up on my front door and say, we're here to help you and get your water sample. We've never done this before, but we're gonna do it. Yeah. So they took the sample. And then I said to the nurses, I said, you're part of public health. I'm concerned as a post-pass health provider about the welfare of my neighbors, including my husband and myself. We're not young people anymore. I said, what happens to the quality of our air? Is anybody looking at the pollutants that are coming up from the decomposing bodies? Do you know what's all in there? Are you monitoring that? And one of the nurses said, you can monitor that? I said, yes, you're a nurse. You should know that. She said, well, we'll check. And so they did. A couple of days later, I get a call. The state has 2 health monitors. We're going to borrow one of them. Do you want me to come to your house and put it in your house and see what it is? I said, no. You put it out there and you take a look and find out what those monitors are saying. Oh, you don't want it in your house? No, I don't want it in a house. I'm concerned for everybody. And now, 4 months later, 5 months later, it's like a crapshoot. How often do you keep putting the same dead animals on a piece of property and expect the land to take that? And the water, and the air. Did you know that within the last month, there has been a study done on air pollution and early onset Alzheimer's? Everybody can pick it up on their phone, read it. This applies. Nobody seems to care. It's a lot of words. It's a lot of political crap. I worked political crap for a lot of time. I know what it's like. Don't try buffaloing the poor men and women who are just living in the area. It's like we're nothing. We're guinea pigs is right, like somebody said that. We are. Because nobody really seems to take a good look. None of you would want that in your backyard at all. But so long as it's not in your backyard, we can give you all the lip service we want. Call the politicians, but they don't live in our yards. They don't raise kids in our yards. They don't try to grow old in a peaceful environment. How many of us are going to end up with early Alzheimer's? I'm too old for it already. I'll end up with regular Alzheimer's. But there's plenty of you out there. They're finding more and more of this stuff that we're inhaling, and you're not adding to it. You just keep putting it on the same property. Let's see how many chickens we can put on there, how much we can decompose before it really ruins the water, and then we'll move on to someplace else. We all know it. We live there. Don't give us the lip service. And the person who said he tried calling all these numbers, I've got a list of 26 numbers that no one except 2 people called me back, one of which was with Elizabeth, and she was very kind enough to call me back. The other was a person who didn't want to be named, and that person said, oh, it's you people down there. Well, you just handle it yourself. There's nobody up here that's going to handle it. He or she was from the DNR. The only person that called me back out of the 26 numbers along with Elizabeth. You don't get anybody to call you back. You don't get any relief. And we're here at a meeting trying to get this resolved. Should we wait 5 more months, have it happen again? And somebody says land value, coast value. My property's worth crap because of the chickens. I don't see you living next to the chickens, and nothing against Daybreak, but it's our houses, it's our kids, and it's our farms. And we like to live there and at least die there in peace. Thank you.
I've waited for a long time. I had my hand up several times.
Let him go.
And I got passed by.
No, I called them, you said the.
Yes, I wanted her to speak.
Go ahead.
I've been there for 23 years. It first started when the
Name and
first
address,
guy,
please. Name and address.
name is Lyle Broughton, West 635 Hooper Road, Elmira, Wisconsin, 53156.
Thank you.
Telephone number 262.
Social Security number.
I'm getting irritated, so let me talk. All right, 23 years, you're gonna have a history lesson tonight. That's when it all started with me. That's when I bought that piece of property, and the chicken company then was bringing trucks and spraying chicken wash 150 feet in the air until my barn started turning gray. That was 8 years it took me to get that damn truck off there and get them to put it on the right way, the way the DNR did. But no, between even that and happening, they had Milwaukee drag out truckloads of leaves and everything, batteries, phone cases, phone parts, you name it. And then the chicken thing come along and they're still putting wash on it. I'm tired of this crap. This is enough. How about if I lay a turd on your plate? Would that help you understand what I'm going through? And if you don't think I'm pissed, let me tell you, you haven't seen it yet.
You think we're happy?
Did I say that? But you better learn. I'm going to tell you one thing. You better learn how to run that goddamn business. Or I'll tell you how to run it. And number one is, maybe you ought to think about the number of birds you got in that business. Maybe you shouldn't have 7 million birds in the same area. Maybe that's the problem. Too many birds in one area. Don't think I'm all screwed up, because I'm not. I damn well know what's going on. Don't try to push me around, because I'm not gonna take it. I'm done now.
Thank you. Blaine, you want to say something?
Yeah, Blaine Paulson, N657 Tamarack Road. I just got a couple of questions. I got one for you, Mr. Rem. Could you incinerate the chickens? If the USDA would allow it, would that work? Could you incinerate the chickens? Now I'm talking just the chickens.
I need to defer to Garrett.
Okay, Barrett, could the chickens be incinerated?
The chickens themselves could be incinerated, and other material cannot.
Okay, so, the DNR bill, or state veterinarian first, would that eliminate the problem as far as the virus? If they incinerated the birds, not talking, you've still got all the other things to deal with, I understand that. If they incinerated the birds, that would eliminate the virus from the birds, correct? Okay, all right, DNR bill. Outagamie County will take the eggs, because those won't burn, right?
They'll take some of the eggs, they won't take the full quantity from this farm of the eggs, all the trucks that need to go, they will take some of them. And I can't speak how much they'll take, it really depends on their operations.
Okay, and so then all the other things that we've been talking about, could those be composted? The remaining stuff, could that be composted?
The manure and the blow down.
Yep.
What else you got over there, those are the main things.
Yes.
Yeah.
They could be composted. Now, the next question, all right? Which stinks worse? The decaying chicken or the manure compost?
The compost is still gonna be there. I have not personally done a incineration of birds to be able to answer that.
I got you. Well, I'm not. The incineration of the birds could take place where you're at. That's the point. But you can compost the remainder. But what we need to have happen is the USDA needs to allow that to happen, correct? As well.
It's a joint decision.
Yeah, I understand. I understand that. But that, I'm trying to figure out who I gotta lean on. Okay? I'm a county supervisor, which is nobody, but at least I know who to bother.
We need to bother Madison and the state. We find a clear path to allow the DNR to accomplish certain things that will help make all our lives a little bit better. But it's gonna ultimately take the governor and the board of governors of the DNR to agree. And just because we get a law passed, or try to get a law passed, to allow certain things to happen, we may need your help to exert pressure on the governor's office to execute. He might, who's the guy that would put the law? Yeah, we might need him talking to the governor. Put the pressure on him.
That's a waste of time.
Yeah, so what part of the decision making too for the incineration, it's a joint decision for it, so DACAP, USDA, APHIS, DNR, and the facility. You're paid at a rate from USDA for part of your disposal action, so the facility has to agree to the type of disposal too. And there needs to be mobile incinerators available. USDA does have some mobile incinerators, not a lot. And as Dr. Conkle had mentioned, they haven't really been utilized for poultry. So it's not to say it can't happen or it won't happen.
Right. I
They just weren't
understand.
available for this specific outbreak.
Understood. I'm just looking for in the future, because this could
Absolutely.
happen every 3 months if we don't get that water drain.
And it is a question that Dan and I reach out as part of the disposal discussions with DACAP and USDA. We want to make sure, is there, if that's an option, want to make sure that the farm, knows of that and they're looking at it too. But we didn't have any incinerators available for use for this outbreak.
And Wayne, again, we have the GIS boost actively for other purposes, so this does not happen. But eventually, we put back on the state.
I understand that, but
Yep.
I don't think,
Doesn't
if
break
you
the
put it out on
person.
Tamarack Road, there'll be a bunch of people from Tamarack Road here talking, and if you put it out on Little Prairie Road, there'll be a bunch of people from Little Prairie Road. And they'll all be right, because it's obnoxious, and we should probably try to figure out a solution that can work for everybody. You know?
Anyway, we are past our time. Take a couple
Thank
more
you.
questions before we get there. Cindy Duco, our state representative, is on the line. Cindy, would you like to say anything?
Yes, hi, I would, thank you very much. I'm sorry I couldn't be there in person, I've been here, listening all evening. And I wasn't going to speak up, I've been working on something for a year. I've been working with Daybreak for over a year on what I personally think is a problem, and that is the bird sanctuary next to the farm. People no longer get to, sequence back on this last outbreak to see if that's actually what it is. And I also have great empathy for everyone who lives there. This is my community too. I am very familiar with the area. I remember driving past that egg farm when my kids were in high school on our way to Whitewater for football camp when there was the original outbreak many, many years ago, and noticing how much it smelled. So I am painfully aware of what you're going through. I have been trying for a year to come up with a solution. We actually have a bill being heard in the Senate tomorrow, which could be a path to get us there. Unfortunately, we are working in divided government, and I need to get the governor on board with me, and I've been trying very, very hard. And then I'm going to need him to help us get the DNR on board. So we think we have a path, and we've been working diligently on this. I talked to Michael Lucky far more than he would like to talk to me, I'm sure. And I've been in touch with the people at Daybreak on a regular basis. So I want you to know you are heard. We are trying. This should never again happen, and we are doing everything we can to make sure it does not.
You said the first
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Cindy. Two more questions. Bonnie, you've had your hand up.
This is for our state veterinarian. Is HPA1 being species specific? I noticed they did have one cattle farm that had it. Are you finding it crossing over in other species, or is it staying mostly to the chickens? And number two, we have people who have small backyards with chickens. How are you monitoring that to see if those chickens aren't harboring it and maybe turning it on? I noticed in your notice it said within a 10-kilometer radius. But how, if they don't have a premise registration, how do you know where these chickens exist? Do you want to go and find test these chickens, make sure that they aren't harboring it and helping spread it on over time? So is that an area that something, because getting to the cause would help prevent a lot of this.
I'll answer the second question first. I'll repeat it a little bit so those in the back can hear. The second question was, what about backyard flocks and in the area? How are we monitoring them? Are they involved in the propagation and spread of this virus? So we are monitoring those. We have a 10-kilometer convention. It's 6.2 miles.
Yeah, we just checked ours.
Farther out beyond that to monitor flocks in the area. This is a little bit different. From 2015, we did go out and test every single one of those twice. And our premises registration system helped us a lot with that. We knew where they were. You're right, it's not always 100%, but we were able to get more people on board with that, and that still is really for us. This time around in 2022, we have not needed to do that. USDA and others were able to analyze a lot of data from 2015. Even though this is a slightly different virus, it didn't seem like the backyard flocks were propagating the virus. They were small enough, they could get infected for sure, and we want to prevent that too. And we want to give people biosecurity tips for protecting their backyard flocks. But it just wasn't a great use of time to test them all. Having said that, we want people to know the signs of high-path avian influenza in their any flock, backyard or commercial. Similar to what happens in people, you see respiratory signs, or with this virus, a lot of times sudden death of a large proportion of the flock over a really short period of time. So we want people to let us know if they have concerns, and even if they think it might not be, and we can get that testing done at no cost to the backyard flock. Yeah, and then your first question was regarding species. I've had avian influenza, and with this particular H5N1 virus, we have seen it in other species, besides many avian species, of course, but also mammalian species. So cattle, we have seen it in cattle. We did see it in a herd, almost a flock. We saw it in a herd in Wisconsin, in Dodge County, in December, and we are doing testing of the dairy herds around the state regularly, monthly, for all the herds in the state, and that's how we do it. Now in cattle, it does not, in this case, this particular strain that's circulating in the wild birds does not cause a lot of disease in cattle. So we were able to monitor that herd, quarantine that herd, and check the milk samples, which is where it's easiest to pick up in cattle and release that quarantine. Some other species of mammals may get tick. Foxes, for instance, there's other species of mammals that they've detected this virus in, as well as people. People are mammals too, so that's why public health is helping with monitoring workers and why we're watching this virus closely, because we have had people become infected with it either through mostly really close contact with infected poultry, or in some cases the dairy herds in other states that have been affected, that the workers that were in close contact with those cattle sometimes got infected. And again, conjunctivitis was a typical symptom. Vast majority of people recovered. There were a couple of deaths in the US from this virus. And so far, we haven't seen any sign that it passes person. What about horses? I've not seen it in horses.
One more question, you had a question, sir. Go ahead.
I'm not a veterinarian, but I am, I've worked through multiple avian influenza outbreaks and industry meetings throughout the nation. And farmers, whether we're in Wisconsin, the Carolinas, California, we're all family, we all talk, we want to make practices better. So we share farmer to farmer what we're seeing within our flocks. And the one consistency I can let you guys know is that it's inconsistent. We're not seeing consistent symptoms or clinical signs within the flocks. And case to case, we're seeing different reaction and different symptoms. So at the end of the day, if you have a backyard flock and you have sick birds in any form, it could be avian influenza. And that's what we are seeing.
So definitely give a call and test.
Brian Colstead, N2044 County Road E. We've talked a lot about the past up until now, what kind of got us here. But I think we really need to discuss moving forward. What's the plan moving forward? So we're already going to have a terrible smelling spring and summer. Outdoor barbecues are probably not going to be at our house. So moving forward, what's the plan? Like I'm suggesting maybe Daybreak Farms, no more chickens there until you have another property located for if it happens again. You have to have a plan for what you're going to do different this time. This can't continue anymore. This area has had just enough. We've had enough. It's got to go somewhere else. If you need to pause your operations, I'm sympathetic to that as a small business owner, but you can't just keep pushing forward and maybe this will do it, maybe it won't. Maybe let's try it. We need a better plan. And it starts with not subjecting this area anymore.
Comment, Brian, appreciate it. We're trying to get the root cause of the problem so that none of us have to deal with it again. And I think I've learned a lot, heard a lot today. I have some ideas I'm going to talk to Barrett about, and I want to talk with our compost friends from the DNR about. But appreciate your comment. At the end of the day, whether we put it back in your neighborhood, sir, or somebody else's neighborhood, we're going to have the same conversation unless we can figure out how to stop the virus. We need more tools in our toolbox to get there.
I agree, but in the meantime, this area has had enough.
I get it. I've heard that, and I think I have some ideas, but I need to work with Barrett, and I need to work